actually like here for it in person live. This is so exciting. Yeah, so my guest here is Jen Peters. She is a member of the Palette community, a newer member. So I'd love to talk about, why you joined and what you're getting out of it. But tell us a little bit about you and your business.
All right, so I'm a life coach, a general life coach. I help people make changes to their lives so that they can change their lives. That's kind of what it's all about. So whatever it is that life's throwing at them, I help them get through it.
So I was kind of like a fly on the wall. I was working here on a Saturday, and you were taking a break from one of your workshops. And I just have to say, I almost felt like I was, in the way, but it was so clear, like what a transformation that this person had made in one of your workshops. So tell us a little bit more about it and how someone can join.
Yeah, so my workshops that I do, there's a very small group, which is what I love the Palette space. It's just the perfect opportunity for an intimate get-together. So I have my workshops here, and basically, if there's something that you desire out of life and you're not experiencing it, something is holding you back. So we look at where you are now, where you want to be, and we look at those obstacles and how to overcome those obstacles, and we get you moving forward in that. So I also offer one-on-one private coaching, as well as I offer my clients a vault of video life coaching lessons on demand, so they can watch them whenever they want, wherever they want, however many times they want. So just to help them get through at any time. So even if they can't get a hold of me, through the vault, they have all the tools that they need.
Wow.
Through the workshops, we just really fine tune those skills that you need. And then with one-on-one coaching, we just get very practical in your personalized and individualized plan.
So do you find this is such a personal question, but do you find that it's very you think you're going through something all on your own, and you're like, no one else in the world is experiencing this, and maybe I know that there's lots of comparison, right, with social media and everything. So you see other people's lives and you're like, oh, they got it all figured out. And so I would imagine in this group setting, workshop setting, you really unlock the fact that we're all going through the same thing. We're all struggling with a lot of the same shit. And there's this accountability factor with the other people that you just connect with, and it's random, right? These aren't necessarily people who even know each other,
right?
Which I think is really magical, right? Because it's wow, we have such connections with people we don't even know yet. So what has your experience been with these workshops?
Yeah, and it's true. We all have some very similar general experiences, but they're very personalized to us. We each may experience the same, general situation, but in an individual and unique way. And so when you can see that you're not alone, that this person sitting right next to you, who maybe, yes, you're just meeting for the first time, but they're going through the same thing. They have the same feelings, but maybe you have two different lives. You need to tackle it two different ways to get through it. And that's why the personalization of it is so important.
Awesome. Well, so you have another workshop. You have a workshop coming up.
Yep, October 22nd.
And is it full yet?
No, not full. There's still some space.
Okay, awesome. So the best way for people to get hold of you is go to your website, which you just got a new website.
I did.
That's exciting. I love new websites, and I think, it's so important to continue to evolve them. You can't, not look at your website for years and think that it's going to still
for sure
do what it used to do, right? So you came from SEO website background, so you're pretty savvy with that, or did you have somebody do it for you?
I did do it myself, but it's funny. I was, yes, an SEO copywriter, blogs, websites, all that good stuff. And, we're the ones who tend to do the least to our own personal sites. So, but yeah, I love the website. Like I said, mine also offers the video vault for my clients, and that's the most fun part. It's kind of like Netflix of life coaching lessons, right?
Yes, I love that too. And I don't know about you, but I watch videos in silence, because I'm in my bed, kids are asleep, and I'm just watching the captions. But yeah, it's like Netflix and I'm obviously really into self-help and personal development and entrepreneurship. I think those two go hand in hand.
Sure.
So I love that there's this option where you can kind of just like a library gem.
There you go. Exactly.
That's awesome. So are you doing any SEO anymore? Have you completely walked away from that life and you're just doing coaching?
I am fully focused on coaching.
Wow.
But I have held on to just a few of my writing clients simply because I didn't want to leave them without, someone they're comfortable with.
Yeah. And so tell us, I don't know if this is what you want to focus on right now, but I'm so interested. So you basically have just like a couple of clients that you're working with in your old life, right? And they're just, I'm sure they love you. They're actually the ones who suggested you start doing this coaching work.
Yeah, I had 7 clients tell me you should be a life coach.
Wow.
And, kind of silly to admit it, but I had to Google what is a life coach. I didn't know. So once I did that, I started studying and I just knew that was exactly what I was called to be. So I was so thankful for those clients speaking that into my life, and then just so thankful for finding life coaching because it's changed my life. And of course, I want to share that with everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think it is? I mean, do you feel like you had maybe just friends that were that coach for you prior to knowing like what really life coaching is? Because I think some people are lucky in that, like they have great support systems already. They have people who hold them accountable, that call them out on whatever stuff that might be getting in their way that they're not aware of it, and that's great for them. I don't know that I always had that, so I kind of had to create like my own support system around me to help me, and that would make me feel like comfortable and confident, surrounded by these people who would call me out in kindness, right? In like a way that is like nice and kind and supportive versus, drill sergeant type.
Yeah.
So like what, I guess, before you found life coaching, where did you find that support?
Different ways. One, I have been involved with different ministries for decades. So without realizing it, I was kind of immersed in that environment where we counsel families, we counsel women, lay counseling and speaking into their lives. And at the same time, we receive that in return from each other, the ministry team. And so for over 20 years, I've kind of been counseling and coaching without even realizing that's what I was doing. But I was also receiving it, right? And even when you're coaching someone else, we think, we go into it thinking, I have so much to give, right? But what we realize is we get so much in return as well. So yeah, I was just kind of immersed in it without realizing it.
Yeah, I think that's so interesting with the activity of being of service. So I grew up Catholic. I grew up like doing community service was like a thing, requirement that you had to do when you went to school. And you get so much out of being of service to others. And I think that that's one thing that I always tell people: if they're feeling hopeless, if they're feeling like stuck, or they don't know what to do next. I mean, I tell myself this too. It's like, go find people that need help and that you can support. And again, it's why I love what I do. It's why I create Palette, is because I can constantly be of service to other people, and surrounded by people who will not allow for me to get burnt out doing it. That's the other thing too, because you can be of service, right? And then just always be of service and not get anything out of it because you just feel like you're always needed. And I mean, wow, this is like such a web of like information that we could go into. I could talk to you about it forever because I just think it's so interesting. If you're like me, where it's being raised in that idea and that culture, you feel like being of service is all that you can do.
Right, and you can't pour from an empty cup, right? So you do have to know how to receive it as well.
Yeah, and I feel like you don't learn that lesson until like you are completely depleted and incapable of functioning.
But the important thing is that you learn the lesson,
yes,
right?
Yes,
there you go.
Yes, exactly. So tell us a little bit about more about what's next for you. I mean, you got this workshop coming up in October, and the Vault, which I think is there a way for people to get access to the Vault and not do the workshop? Or is that?
Yeah, well, I mean, as my client, they have one-on-one life coaching with me. They have the Vault; it's just part of being my client. And then the workshops are optional. But as my client, you also get free admission to all of the workshops. workshops.
Oh, cool.
Whereas if you're not my client, you can still attend. There's just a fee to attend.
Gotcha.
So
gotcha.
yeah, so they can do it either way. They could have the vaults without the workshop, or they could have the workshop without the vaults.
Got it. And how long are your like coaching clients signing on to you? Is this like kind of tell me about the experience that one might have working with you? Is it like weekly check-ins? Is like, can I text you if I can't? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I always like there to be clear boundaries of like what this is gonna look like, because life coaching is a very big, there are different types of, styles and infrastructure inside those different, like that life coaching is huge.
Yeah, that's actually why I made mine. Is I don't know anyone who is combining the one-on-one coaching with the vault. Group coaching in the vault, yes, I've seen that, but not the one-on-one. So yeah, I asked for it to begin with a minimum of 3-month package. So it's a 3-month commitment, and then we can either continue, or if you feel like you're in a good place, you can stop there. But they are weekly one-on-one coaching sessions. There's 3 options. There's a laser 15-minute session, a mini 30-minute session, and a full hour session. Most of my clients are the full hour session. You just get so much out of that. But and it depends on the goal, right? Everybody's so different. Some people in 3 months' time, they've made great progress and they have the skills and they're confident and they're ready to maybe either go to a lesser package or just to try on their own. And others just want to continue. I've got multiple clients over a year. We've been coaching together and still going. And I have personal goals, business clients, health and wellness. It's anything. And I do offer for my clients, if they're in a moment, and they're stuck in anxiety or confusion or whatever it is, they do all have, I give them all my number. They can text me. I do have boundaries, but I am also available as well as through email.
That's amazing. Yeah, and then are you of the mindset that you should like graduate out of having this support? Like you should equip yourself and then be able, like your arsenal's packed with like all the tools that you need to function and to thrive? Yeah. Or are you like, okay, let me just tell you what I think. I think that you always need a coach in your life. I think that you always need someone who's going to hold you accountable, call you out, in kindness, and hold you accountable and keep you moving forward. But like, I would love to hear what
Yeah, I mean, and the reality is, I want my clients to feel like they can handle life, right? I want them to feel like they have the tools that they need, that they can make decisions for themselves. They don't need me to make decisions for them. They don't need me to tell them what to do. I've given them the tools so that they can do that for themselves. However, I am there to support them, always. I am there to encourage them, to hold them accountable. So even if someone does graduate and is no longer my client, well, hopefully they can become my friend maybe, and we do still speak into each other's lives. Or they could go from like the full package of hour-long sessions to maybe the laser sessions of only 15 minutes, if they want to stay and just have that extra support through it.
Yeah, and just like sometimes there's situations, those circumstances that come up, and you're like, I need like bird's eye view on the situation and how to navigate it.
Mm-hmm.
Like life is so complicated, relationships are difficult, so I think I'm such an advocate for therapy, for coaches, for support systems, community. So why don't you tell us a little bit about why you joined Palette, what you're getting out of it. I think a lot of times I feel like we've been living this life for like 3 years now. Palette is 3 years old, and I sometimes feel like a broken record. Like, and when I hear people, they're like, what exactly is it? Is it community? Is it co-working? I don't get it. So I love to, hot seat our members, because it's our members who get the most out of it, who are, continuing to join, to be part of what we're doing here. And so I think it's like best spoken from the horse's mouth here. Like, why did you join? Are you happy? What are you getting out of it?
I love Palette. I didn't even know I needed Palette in my life, but wow, did I. Another Palette member actually told me about Palette. And when she told me, she was actually telling me about the printing services. She was like, oh, I can print whatever we need because I get free printing at Palette. I'm like, free printing?
Yeah.
But I didn't know how much I needed the quiet space. I have a home, just like everybody else, that has a lot of activity in that home. And I work from home. And I have my own office, but sometimes it's really nice just to get into a different environment. A quiet space, a space that there's other people there to network with. and just a place that's, I mean, it's just beautiful and it's fun.
Yeah.
Right. I also, again, love using the spaces for the workshops. Renting space is super expensive, and with it being a benefit as a Palette member, it's just, just the icing on the cake. So yeah, and even a few times I have had people who we needed a place to meet real quick, just to talk, or just to even someone who's like, okay, tell me what life coaching is. We can either meet for coffee, or hey, how about we come to Palette, right, and talk at Palette. So I've had that opportunity too, just to bring someone in, sit down, have a quick chat, and then maybe go grab lunch together.
Yeah. Well, that is all by design. It was like a vision I had, years and years ago. I was like so tired of having to meet people at Starbucks or meet people at Panera, and I wanted a better environment, a better vibe, a higher energy, and just like to have a place for people like me who understand what I'm trying to accomplish can come together and get it done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The possibilities with the space are endless.
I also like to talk about the flexibility. It's just like the space in Schenectady. It's funny. It's like we do like church service on Sundays. One of our members is a pastor, and it's just like so cool. And then there's like it flips around. It becomes like a women's conference that we did once, and we have like one of our members has a pop-up picnic company. So she's hosting the bridal showers and stuff in the space, and it's really just so important for it to be a flexible space because we're all flexible. We're all multi-passionate. There are different types of things that we all need at any given moment, and we need to be able to be nimble and flexible in the physical space as well. So I'm glad that it's working out for you because I say this all the time, like when you succeed and when you get something important and impactful out of it, it helps us too. So I just love that I'm able to be part of what you're working on and what you're doing, and the space is working for you. So
thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. Is there anything else you want to say while we have this candid audience?
Oh, gosh, I would say if anything, let me encourage you to really think about the person that you want to be. And then once you know who you want to be, every decision you make, everything you say, every action that you take, bring it into alignment with that person. And before you know it, maybe without realizing, you will become that person. So know who you want to be, and then make the changes to become that person.
And it's possible.
It's inevitable.
Inevitable. Yeah, I mean, I've heard this notion where you just start, right? You just start to do the things that are gonna, it's baby steps. It's baby little dots that you just keep connecting, and then eventually it's like you realize you're like this new person.
That's right.
Yeah, I love it. All right, well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you all for watching and meeting Jen. If you want to connect with her, you go to her website. It's below here in the caption here, and stay tuned for when we come back with your work live next week. So awesome.